Welcome to the Rethink Sales Show. My name is Derek Kelly. I am joined by Jim Shorkey. Welcome to season 4.
Wow.
I just wanted to spend an episode and talk through the evolution of Rethink Sales Show.
How you can be the greatest salesperson on the planet.
So remember, season 1, we're probably about 80 episodes in now, Jim, but season 1 was called the Pragmatist Podcast. And what that was really us determining, okay, what's our voice here? What does it mean to be pragmatic? What does it mean to be practical? What does that look like? And we were really just getting our feet wet into this platform of podcasting and YouTube and Facebook and going live. And you'd been doing that for a couple of years. We took that to the next level. And then season 2, we came up with this Rethink Sales Show based off our REthinkU course and recognized, wow, this is more like people kept saying, talk more about sales, talk more about sales, talk more about sales. So we said, okay, we'll talk about sales, right?
The bottom line is the bottom line. And this is just advice from one entrepreneur to another entrepreneur, hopefully. And the idea behind being an entrepreneur is to figure out what the client needs, what the client wants, and then to figure out a way to provide that in the most efficient manner possible, and then to charge for it. That's what a true entrepreneur is all about. And so we're not charging, so I know that. But at the same time, doesn't it make sense to figure out what you want as an audience and then to provide it? So we had this idea to just add on to what Derek said, the Pragmatist Podcast, what that was really the essence of it was to give the audience pragmatic advice, practical advice that was actionable, that was realistic. It wasn't fluff and pie in the sky and all this stuff. It was like, here's how you do this. This is how you walk up the steps. And step by step, we showed you how to walk up those steps. But the audience was telling us, this is cool, we like this, but we want to hear about sales. You got this Jim Shorkey cat. He's a sales guy. I am. He's a sales expert. I am. And so we had to execute what is called a pivot, P-I-V-O-T. And hence,
And then as we were
REthinkU
studying,
Sales.
we got into season 3, which is, you just seen the last 30 so episodes on these couches downstairs with Rodney, with
Mark Maestri.
so many other folks, really just starting to bring this. People love this show so much that we wanted to bring it more to life. We wanted to be together in a room instead of over the
What does it mean to rethink sales? What it means is if you are a salesperson, then you should be producing results. If you like those results, then you keep on going, keep on keeping on, so to speak. But if you aren't as pleased with those results as you'd like to be, or you want to make the results better, then you have to rethink. It starts with the thinking. So we rethink. We figure out what the new actions are, and we go to work. And then in our business, if somebody sells 10 cars a month, that's a pretty good job. But that same person says, Anthony over here selling 20. How do I get to 20? You can't keep on doing what you've been doing because you're going to keep on getting what you've been getting. So you got to do something different. And that's what Rethink Sales is all about. What can we do? What are the little different things we can do to improve our actions? And Jim Rohn said famously, we were just talking about this.
Yes.
Things get better when Jim Shorkey gets better. And it applies to you as well. Things get better when you get better. So this platform now is all about what can we do to offer up pragmatic advice that we know works. You put it into play, and then you get your results to go up, and then you tell us your stories. All we want right now today is the stories. We want the stories. That's why your comments are so important to us. And that's why your likes are so important to us. And you're sharing. Like, if you watch this today and we really, get your attention, boy, you couldn't pay us a bigger honor than to share it with somebody else. So we want you to like it. And we want you to comment because that is manipulating the algorithm. But the sharing is a from the heart thing that you could do for us today, but only do it because you want to. But if you have a good friend or an associate or whatever the case may be, say, listen, I want you to see what these guys said today. This is really cool. Does that make sense?
And we wanted to up the level because we were doing some online stuff and we recognized, there's little hiccups. And we knew people were starting to really engage with it. We wanted to get rid of the jet lag, right? And so we realized, man, what if we sat down in person and had just real conversations and invited the audience into a real conversation? This is not scripted. It's not rehearsed. I have some ideas in mind. I take some notes. And
I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are.
You don't know what they are. And
But
so
Rob Hoffman is coming today. Rob Hoffman and I did sit down. I did give him that pragmatic advice, a series of ideas, and he did what I told him to do.
Yeah.
He is knocking it out of the park. Now, if that intrigues you, stay tuned.
Yeah, and that's what I believe season 4 is coming into. We're having a lot more guests. A lot more people want to join us. They want to be in part of this conversation. And my goal...
I do.
Yeah.
I do feel blessed.
Yeah.
I feel blessed to be with Derek Kelly today. And I feel blessed to be with Jess today. And I feel blessed to be with you today. I truly feel blessed for a whole lot of reasons, just being here, but being alive. I feel blessed. Yeah. I lead a blessed life. I lead a charmed life. I feel so lucky. So thank you for joining me today. I'll let you continue.
I think we're excited to bring other people. Since you guys are really just tuning into a live conversation that we're having, we're inviting more people around the round table, right? People like Rob Hoffman, our friend Skip Majiros, who's a real estate agent. He runs a local restaurant. He's franchising it. We'll get to hear from him. A guy named Jeff that is putting REthinkU into schools. We have different folks that you mentor that eventually you want to bring on the podcast. There's different folks that we want to add into this conversation because we really believe that it's not just rethink sales, that this is a movement of people that get behind this idea of rethinking you. What do you see as we jump into a new season of journeying with this audience? As this audience is growing month over month, how can we better help these people? And what are you most excited about?
The idea is that if I give a woman a fish, she gets to eat for one day. If I teach her how to fish, she gets to eat for a lifetime. That's the idea of REthinkU. That's the idea of Rethink Sales. That's the idea of the Pragmatist Podcast. If I give a man a fish, he eats for one day, which is pretty cool. But if I teach him how to fish, then he gets to eat for a lifetime. And you know what? I taught Rob Hoffman how to fish, and he's hitting it out of the park. Yeah. My physical therapist, Mark Mastriana, who has been on the show. I love this guy. I had physical therapy today, and I love this guy. I love him. I do. And he's teaching me how to fish. And I have a lot to learn. Oh, my God. I'm not real good at fishing right now. The fishing being boxing. It's tough. But I'm learning, and it's very good for my brain and for the things that I've been through. But also, when Mark and I talk, we talk as brothers. And I'm teaching him how to fish as well. So it's a mutually beneficial scenario.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do today.
Yeah.
I want to teach the audience how to fish.
Yeah.
That's about as simple as I can make it.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Hold on. You put that hook on wrong. Hold on. The line's too tight. Hold on. You can't have those knots on the line. You're too close to the shore. And all of a sudden we start catching some fish. And the joy. If you've ever taken a little kid fishing, you've done it up where you're at.
Yeah.
It's a joyful thing, is it not?
Yeah.
They catch a fish. They may as well catch $1,000.
Yep.
I don't think they'd be happier. I think if they pulled up $1,000, they wouldn't be as happy as getting that little
at first
fish.
It's funny because they're like, oh my gosh, this takes forever. And they catch one. And
It's
like,
joyful.
Oh my gosh, this is so worth it.
So that said, the joy for me comes from your stories. Yeah. I want to hear your stories. I did a post yesterday about some things that I did at the dealership. I'll leave that off the table for now. Mm-hmm. And I got some messaging back on it that made me cry. Yeah. Because it was like, wow, did I really do that? Did I really teach you that? I didn't know that. And it's such joy for me.
Yeah, we love hearing your stories. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation just openly, is because we want to invite you deeper into this journey with us on the Rethink Sales Show. So as we jump into season 4, having conversations with Rob, Steve Gardner, a gentleman who's been with us for so long.
I love Steve.
Chuck Bellina, who had so much insight into the program that we have today.
Chuck did pass.
Yeah.
Chuck died. I miss that guy. I loved him dearly. Yeah. I love him dearly. Excuse me. I do. I really do. That was another phase that you neglected.
Yeah,
is when this
for
thing
that, yeah.
we started our thing, and it was Chuck lives on through us.
Yeah.
And that was our theme. Chuck lives on through us.
Right.
And even though we're not talking about that anymore, we just did.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting with Chuck at my dining room table, and we were putting this thing together called REthinkU, and the results from thinking. And of course, it has evolved from there. But we sat around the table. And then Chuck and Steve,
That's right.
actually, they are I had nothing to do with Derek Kelly. Nothing.
It's true.
They're the ones that got these guys involved. So without Chuck, we're not even here right now. Chuck and Steve were impressed with you guys.
Yeah.
And they called me, this is going to cost X. I said, go ahead and do it. You know, we were downstairs
Like 2 weeks before that.
and we did not have the logo yet. We did not have the colors yet. And we sat there.
Yeah.
This is no bull. We sat there. So what do you think about the orange and the black? I like that. What about the orange? And we had all these different colors. I remember this very clearly. So I like that one.
Yep.
Chuck, I like that one. Yep. Steve, okay. And that became the color. And if you look at the REthinkU results from thinking moniker, that was created at my dining room table at this house here, where we're at right now. This is deep. REthinkU is a documenting of what I did for my part in building the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group. Chuck and I sat at my table at Barry Bush Drive, where I used to live, and we put this thing, and he just interviewed me basically. I told him, here's what I did. And we developed this program that evolved into REthinkU. And then Chuck died, next phase is we sat here, and we after these guys got involved, and we put this whole thing together, and it kept evolving and evolving. Guess how we wrote REthinkU? We used REthinkU to write REthinkU. That's a fact. We used REthinkU to write REthinkU. Am I right or wrong?
Yes. Yes.
And that sounds illogical. How could you use it when you didn't even have it yet?
Right.
It was a process. And that's what we're trying to teach you today, is that same process. REthinkU is a process. And I can tell you, if we have 100 people do REthinkU exactly the way it's supposed to be done, we will have 100 success stories, not 99. You can improve your marriage. You can improve your church. You can improve your business, your income, your health, whatever the case may be. And when I was in the hospital, I had a stroke, really bad stroke, hemorrhagic stroke, 3 brain bleeds. I was in a bad way, but I made it very clear to everybody that was around that bed. It was like my deathbed. I said, I'm going to use REthinkU to fix this.
Yeah.
Did I not say that?
Yes. Yes.
And I ordered from the hospital bed. Amazon's so freaking cool. I ordered a new copy of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which I've read 162 times. I ordered a brand new copy. I probably have 20 of these books of Think and Grow Rich, 20. I've read it 162 times. I wanted a brand new book because this was a new journey for me. And in the front of the book, I wrote 162 for reading number 162. And underneath that, I wrote 100% stroke recovery. And I did that. And I can prove it. I don't talk nonsense in terms of what I do. I don't. I tell you what I did, what I do, what I will do in the future. But that I can show you the book. I could literally leave here right now, go down and get the book, bring it up and say, well, here it is. And you'll see as I started it. And by the way, to be frank, I didn't finish reading number 162, 161 and a half, excuse me. But I know what to do. And Napoleon Hill makes it very clear that if you already have a goal, then you can just pass on, go on with your business. I have a goal. The goal is 100% stroke recovery. My reasons why do, in fact, make me cry. And you might say, what's that got to do with my business? Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And that's what so much of the feedback we heard from REthinkU 1.0 was, man, this is so good for my life. Can you guys actually make a program that's geared toward entrepreneurs and salespeople? Sure. REthinkU 2.0. So now, if you want to purchase one of these, click the link below. REthinkU, obviously 1.0 is more geared toward just personal development. And then we tailored REthinkU 2.0 towards salespeople and entrepreneurs. And so really it gives you best of both worlds. And so the reason I wanted to do this episode, Jim, was so that we can invite people on this journey. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe, follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and journey with us, because we really believe that there are a group of people. We already see them. Everyone from Steve to, we could countless names, Tara Zalewski, more folks that have seen this process impact their lives. And we want to invite you on that journey.
Yes. It's very emotional for me. And yeah, I will add this. Back in 1996, my father died, March 24th, 1996. If I knew half as much as I thought I knew when my dad died, I would have been pretty darn smart. The fact is I had no clue. And I proceeded to run the business the way I wanted to run the business. This was my big chance. I was going to show my dad what I could do. 2 years after my dad died, I was bankruptcy imminent. And I was in deep trouble. So I got a hold of Think and Grow Rich, and I knew that I had read it a number of times, but I wasn't really doing what Napoleon Hill asked me to do. I wasn't dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And one of the things that came up predominantly in the book was seek expert counsel. Find somebody who's done what you want to do successfully and have a conversation. And I figured out as a human being that I could do that via YouTube, that I could do that via books, that I could do that via recordings. But actually the best way to do it was to be one-on-one with the person. I was trying to think, who do I talk to? Who do I ask? Where do I go? What do I do? And the only guy that came to my mind was Mr. Hamilton. And so I went into Mr. Hamilton's office. I told him, I said, Mr. Hamilton, I'm in big trouble. I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing. Things aren't going real well.
And he was your dad's partner, right?
He was my dad's partner. Yeah, he was my dad's partner. He brought my dad into the business, actually. My dad was selling stereo equipment at the Concerto Room in Pittsburgh, which I don't even know where that is. It's even still there. But anyways, that's what he was doing. And Mr. Hamilton was a stereo nut. And so he was very impressed with my father's sales capabilities, and he recruited him into the car business.
Such a cool story.
Yeah. And so my dad's in the car business, and my dad died. And so the only guy I could think of that would know was Mr. Hamilton. Mr. Hamilton had the boats. He had the cars. He had the houses. He had everything. He had money. He had everything that I wanted. And I'm not ashamed of the fact that I wanted nice cars and nice boats and nice houses. I wanted this stuff. I wanted to have a lot of money in the bank. I did. So I go to Mr. Hamilton, hat in hand, and I told him I was lost. I didn't know what I was doing. And I asked him for a list of 10 things that I should be doing to be a successful automobile dealer. And he called me James. He said, James, let me think about that. And he said, you come back tomorrow morning and I'll have a list for you. So I go back the next morning and he hands me this list. And it was this neatly typed up list of 10 things that I should be doing. So he hands me the list. I get the list. I look at it like we do, right? So I'm reading the list and I'm looking. I'm like, holy cow. I'm not doing anything on this list. Not one thing was I doing. So I started doing the list and the needle started to move. Kept doing the list, getting maybe day one, half of them done. I got to where I was 10 out of 10 and I started to really move that needle. But I also kept going back to Mr. Hamilton. We met once a week at least. We would go to lunch. I would sit in his office. I just was a sponge. Mr. Hamilton recommended that I join a think tank, which in our parlance of dealers, it's called a 20 group. And I did. And I can remember I would go to these meetings, and these were really bright people. By the way, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. Get out. You're in the wrong room. Get around people that are way smarter than you, way more successful than you are, and that's how you learn. So I would go to these meetings, blank piece of paper, and I would write at the top of the paper, I am here to learn. I did it every time without fail. And underneath it, I would write the number 1. And that was going to be my first idea. And I got so many ideas that I had to pare it down. My magic number was 10. I'd have 20, 30 ideas. And I'd look at that and then I'd prioritize. Like I had a star system. Oh, this one's really good, 3 stars. This one's good, 2 stars. This is fantastic, 4 stars. And I would get my most stars together and I'd try to get that down to 10. And that's what I did. I kept the list, but I got it down to 10. And I go back and work on those 10. And the needle kept moving and moving. And now you can Google the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group and you'll see what happened. And so over the years of being really successful, all these different awards and plaudits and trophies and ovations and all this different stuff. But I had this inclination in my heart that it wasn't me, It was the mentors. And I knew that. And so I decided early on this journey that someday I was going to bring this information to the world. I felt intuitively that if I took this information to the grave with me, that I would be the most selfish person on the planet. I truly believed that in my heart. And I have close friends and business associates that will back me up on this. I said I was going to do exactly this. I said that. And so 2016, I retired from the automobile business, and it was time to start this new journey. And so, and it started with Chuck. And actually what happened was I was in a Panera, and Chuck ran into me and asked me what I was doing. I told him, and he asked me if I'd be willing to coach him. I said I would, and I did. And his sales went through the roof because I told him what to do. And then we decided to get in business together. And he was actually the genesis of this thing called Results from Thinking. And we went to work. Yeah. And then it went from there. Yeah. But I knew I wanted to share this knowledge with the world. And it's my passion. And what do I get out of it? Joy. I feel blessed today because I met with a fella yesterday. His name is Mike. That's all I'm going to tell you. And when we were done, he cried. And I cried. And we hugged. And he left. And I told him before the cry, I said, Mike, I asked him, I said, has this been helpful today? He said, you have no idea what this means to me. Wow. That's some powerful stuff. The impact on one person in that manner is really powerful. And that's what I want to do. And if today it's 1, I'm really happy. If it's 2, I'm twice as happy. If it's 10, I'm 10 times as happy. And if it's 1,000 or 1,000,000 or whatever, yeah, I'm 1,000,000 times happier. I just want to bring joy to the world. That sounds tacky, doesn't it? Joy to the world. But I do. I want to bring joy to the world through results are the name of the game. And if I can say something today that will help you to improve your results, then I indeed am blessed. Yes.
Yes. So guys, again, welcome to season 4 of the Rethink Sales Show, and subscribe and follow us on this journey and join us in these conversations. Leave comments. Let us know what you're getting from this because we want to journey with you and have conversations with other people that really encourage you and move you toward.
And I'll say this to you.
Yes.
And I'll say this to them. You ready?
Yes.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
It's true.
You ain't seen nothing yet. We're still at the beginning. We're not even at the middle. Yeah. You ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah. I'm happy where I'm at. We do need to be present. Yeah. But in the back of my mind, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Yeah. But I don't want to do that because I want to be here now with you guys. Yeah. But it does get into my head sometimes. Like, I can't imagine what's going to happen. I can't imagine.